Hello and welcome to everybody who's tuning in either for a tea or a coffee, or if it's a lovely sunny day, a smoothie. With me, Dawn Campbell, your host at the IAPC&M, and the lovely Ulia Kurt, who's in the hot seat today. Hello, Ulia.
Hi, Dawn. How are you doing?
I'm very good. It's always a pleasure to spend time with you. We were just saying offline, it's been at least 3 months since we had a face-to-face, so I've kind of missed you.
Yeah, me too. Likewise. It's like, we're always together a lot. And then sometimes it's like this, but it feels like we never departed. It's like, again,
Exactly.
deja vu, huh?
Exactly. So I'll just set the scene and then I'll introduce you properly, Ulia. So these 30-minute sessions every Wednesday are for people who, we do have a following. I have to be honest and say it's people who say they enjoy a cup of coffee, listening to an interesting chat. It's a bit like eavesdropping, so that's lovely. But essentially, we started out doing these Ask Me Anythings about accreditation, and they were for people who were considering training like you and I to become a
Good.
coach and or a mentor and thinking, well, how do I do that? How do I find a training provider? Or perhaps you're a member of the public who is thinking about, we're 3 months into the year. I still need to tackle my personal or professional goals. I want to work with a coach or a mentor. What's it about? How does it work? How do I find one? So Ulia's ideally placed to support anybody who's listening in with that, particularly if it's career orientated, because that's her field. Or maybe you are already a coach and or a mentor and you're thinking, what is this accreditation that everybody is talking about? Increasingly, I'm hearing about accreditation. How's it going to help me attract more business, etc.? So we can answer those questions. And then like Ulia, who's got her client-facing signature program, if you're an IAPC&M member, because this is a benefit only to our members, if you've got a client-facing signature program, whether it's career development, relationship, debt management, whatever it is, you can have this accredited in your own right and help you stand out in what we know is a very noisy digital space. And then finally, Ulia, we might have a training provider or a university listening in thinking, how does accreditation help me attract more international clients, more international students for
Mhm.
our courses? So that's kind of setting the scene. It's 30 minutes. Ask me anything. My VA, Gillian, is always looking on social media. So this goes live all over YouTube, TikTok, everywhere. And she's looking for questions. We've actually had a question already, came in this morning. So we'll answer that in a little while. So that's the situation. Now let me introduce Ulia to you properly. I think of her as the queen of networking. She's one of the most proactive women I've ever come across. Her energy is infectious. She doesn't sit still. She's very, very active on the social media space, especially. We were kind of hoping we would meet up over a vegetarian cake last year, but it never happened because you were doing a European book signing tour.
Yes.
Ulia is an accredited senior coach and mentor. She has her own client-facing signature program. She's an author of not one, but I think it's two books you've written
Two.
now.
Two
Yeah,
at the moment. One is in progress. Still, it's very emotional, so I can't get to it so easily. But,
yeah,
it's in the process.
yes. And your book is Break Free. Is that right?
Yes, break free from
Yep.
your hamster wheel.
Break
Absolutely.
Free for your hamster wheel. What a great title. And it's particularly around careers, isn't it, that you focus on with working with managers, leaders, and people who want to get away from the, golden handcuffs and do what they
Yeah.
really want to do.
Exactly. It's actually for people who really feel stuck, frustrated, stagnated in their career. And let's face it, we use more time at work than at home. So if this is the case, why not spend your life fulfilled? Because life and work is converging. So it's not only separating. So hence, you need to be feeling fulfilled rather than feeling frustrated. And this is where we break free. That could be being in the same company still because you love your company, but changing your title or the position or the department, whatever it is. Or you want to change completely the industry. That's fine as well. You know, it's a company, you don't like it anymore. Maybe it got toxic. Maybe the managers are not as it was before. The purpose is not anymore. The values are not resonating. Or you want to completely change, leave everything and be an entrepreneur, like me, for example. Yeah, because I became an entrepreneur and I know the whole life cycle because I spent about more than 30 years in a multinational corporate and I worked myself the ladder up. I call myself zero from hero. So this is where I come in with the book. With it's a real workbook as well. And that's why
Yeah.
I've got this accredited drive and thrive your career. And I'm the one who strongly believes in accreditation. That's why I love to be with IAPC&M. I love how they support people, support coaches like me, because I started really about 3 years ago, more or less. So I'm new, fairly new. However, the support and the kind of wonderful family belonging, the sense of belonging that they're giving at IAPC&M is it's unbelievable. I love it. And that's what I did and Dawn, by the way, together with Ruby, created this wonderful workshop to be your author. And I thought, you know what? I want to write a book. I need to be on this program. So thanks to you, Dawn and Ruby, thanks to this wonderful workshop that I got this book out.
Yeah.
Mind me, I took action as well. I didn't just speculate it for about 1 year or something. I wrote it. 3 months later, I was already in contact with the contacts that we got from you and got it published. So
Yeah.
I'm a strong believer in ethics. I strong believe in high quality standards because we know, and you know better than I do, that coaching is actually a bit of an unregulated marketplace. Yeah? And for that, anyone who's looking for a coach, please, first thing, experience, accreditation, what's their status, prove it, because we as coaches are touching humans. We are touching humans. And if you are with a coach who's not qualified, who doesn't have the ethics, doesn't know what coach is and coaching is, you know what? You will be directed and guided not so correctly, shall I say, mildly saying. Yeah? So that's
Yeah.
my kind of 5 cents towards accreditation. I strongly believe in it. And honestly, you're my favorite anyways, Dawn.
Thank you.
And David, not to forget David, because he's always
No.
doing the tests with me, the assessments with me.
Yeah, we're a good team. And of course, you're part of that team because you're our book club coordinator.
Right.
So we're always, I mean, as an organization, we're passionate about CPD, which is why we bring out courses all the time, not to train as a coach, because that's not our field. We're an accreditation body, but we're always looking for ways to support our members to grow their confidence, their business acumen, and really plug that gap which was evident many years ago.
Yeah.
Not so much today, excuse me, but years ago what we found was you would come out of your academy on Friday night with a certificate, maybe as a distinction, and you were a
Yeah.
coach. And then on Monday morning, it's like, well, what do I do with this? How do I get a return on investment? I've been used to somebody paying some money into my bank account every month, and now I have
Correct.
to ask. And
Yes.
it's what a lot of practitioners have a problem with, asking for testimonials, asking for money, asking for the business, asking and
Correct.
doing the close. So we worked very hard in the last 5 or 6 years plugging that gap. And as you rightly pointed out, one of the things that we did was create a writing course, how to write your book, because as you said, being properly trained or having that experience, being insured if your country offers insurance,
Yeah.
as not every international country does, and being independently accredited and having something tangible like a book, like a signature program that people can invest in and invest in themselves is a
Mhm.
way of standing out in a hugely competitive, crowded, noisy digital space. So yeah, you're absolutely right.
No, correct. And by the way, you were saying, okay, in the past with the CPDs and the master classes, right? There was a huge gap. Now it's of course bridged because we've got AI, you can ask anything. However,
Yes, of course.
still the live master classes, and I did one yesterday, Dawn, I did one yesterday with how to grow your business on social with social media means.
Mhm.
It's still so relevant that we have live master classes, that we watch people who did it. That's
Yeah.
so important. These stories are resonating with everyone, and they see the role model saying, hey, if she can do it, I can do it as well. And this is the enthusiasm, energy, and motivation we convey during master classes, that you convey in each master class. And I watch every single one, by the way, afterwards, because sometimes it collides
Yeah.
and conflicts with my schedule, but each one of them I watch one by one, make notes, and put on my CPD, which is great as well, because here you take us accountable as coaches to always learn, upskill, be on the latest standards, latest trends, share, and convey the message in a correct way. And I think this is the beauty of IAPC&M as well. I really love that. I mean, it's really important. And me as a book coordinator, honestly, again, maybe it's a call out here. We need more book reviewers.
We do. We're always looking for more bookworms,
Yes.
because we've usually got more books than we can cope with. And the
Yes.
books that we review are industry related books, business books.
Yeah.
And now obviously we take them by PDF rather than postal copies. But we
Yes.
can't keep up. So we're always looking for more bookworms to join our team. And then Julia coordinates who's got which book, and that
Yeah.
we make sure that we have 2 per month that are reviewed. So what we're saying to our members is that you can read 24 books a year. Is that right?
Yes.
No, 50,
Cor
yeah,
no
24
more.
books a year.
Yeah, correct. Correct.
Yeah,
24 books. Correct.
2 books a month. Now, a lot of people in these days, they might listen to podcasts, but they're reading less and less.
Yeah.
Especially, a serious genre like this. So we've brought you the nuggets within a 2-page review, and then you can go on and decide, no, I really want to dig deeper and buy that book. But this is just one of the things that we do to help you grow your business acumen. And as Ulia said, we have the master classes as well. So I sometimes think less is more, but there are so many fantastic speakers out there that we just keep booking, speakers like yourself. So on average, there's one a week. So
Yes.
6 master classes, 60 hours a year is what we tend to do. And I can't believe you've been with us for 3 years. I mean, I always quote you in my presentations of, look, this was an expert in her own right. She added coaching to her skill set. Came on Ruby and Mime book writing course, got a client signature program, and then you've got this fabulous graphic with all the things that you do. Look how waiting actively transcribes why you're waiting to fill your diary with coaching.
Yeah.
And now you go on and pay it forward, and have had regular master classes for us. So, thank you for that.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. That's again being proactive, taking that opportunity, what is presented, and not even thinking too much, because people always tend to overthink. Is it good for me? What shall I do? I don't get anything in return. You don't know what you're going to get in return. However,
Mhm.
to share is our first thing as a coach, and to
Yeah.
support people. And you will receive. The more you give, the more you will receive. I'm a strong believer in that energy, this positivity, right? And
Yes.
that creates as well a ripple effect, because people will
Yeah.
be checking out on you. People will consider you. People will see you. They will
Mhm.
notice you. And that's why I decided, and yesterday I gave lots of nuggets there as well, on how I moved on. And that's something that I'm so proud of, Dawn. It's like I am on Google, no ads, organic growth with
Uh-huh.
my blogs that I was creating and still create about laser coaching. Laser coaching
Yeah.
is a different type of focused, targeted 15 minutes, maximum 30 minutes coaching, where we are really doing a breakthrough for the client.
Yeah.
And I wrote about, I don't know how many articles. And then I searched on Google to say laser coaching, just on top. And suddenly I see my name. I am on the first page. Google thought or is thinking that I'm an expert in that. And they put me out there. Even on Brian's magazine, I was blogging. And you might say blogging is out of date. It's not. Not on social media. Whatever you write, the keywords will be appearing there. So the
Yeah.
more content you create, the better it is. And I'm constantly on search, on research, on search, on content creation. That's why we are co-authored now the book, which is ready almost, with Eileen, about the resilient professional. Because this is where I'm specialized in, as Dawn said, really career related. And I've got another online program I just launched, is about how to stay relevant in this fast-paced technological digital world. Because
Wow.
professionals are now worried, anxious, leaders. Will AI take over the whole kind of repetitive tasks? How will the landscape change? Also for coaching, how will the landscape change? So we need to understand the trends and prepare ourselves already. So there will be differences in how we are going to do our professions. Different professions will come up, but we need to be prepared. And that's my online masterclass that I'm going for free next week. And then it will start for a 4-week period, once a week, my how to stay relevant, right? So this is also important for us as professionals to be always following trends, reading. Readers are leaders. Yeah.
Yeah.
So go ahead, that's it.
Yep. Write, read, network. You can't go wrong, can you?
No, not at all. And as you said, network like a champion, like an octopus. And you might say, oh, this networking event is not for me. How do you know? Go and test out. Maybe you will meet someone. We never know. I put that as well in the book. Who knows who? You give a card or you connect over LinkedIn and someone says, oh, you know what? I met you in this. You should connect, blah. And suddenly you've got a workshop there. So nothing, whatever you do, it's never for nothing. However, if you sit on the sofa, from nothing comes nothing. Or if you overthink, from nothing comes nothing. So action is key. And I've got another saying there, coming from the entrepreneurial world, try fast, fail fast, learn fast. Failing is not bad. Failing is great. Because what does this mean? I learned. Okay, so I said, okay, so this didn't work. Interesting. And yesterday, what I did introduce as well, and none of the entrepreneurs normally, very rarely are doing this, introduce, measure your own KPIs. What is it? Key performance indicators. Leaders, managers know. KPI for myself, for my own business, for my solopreneur business, I still do that. How many Instagram accounts, followers did I had last month, this month? How much of percentage did it increase? What happened here? Which articles were better, received? Or which events were more attended? You need to measure, to change, to pivot, to align, maybe delete, make obsolete, let go. That's your decision. You are strategy. You are a business owner. You're the CEO of your career. You're the CEO of your own business. And for businesses, we need KPIs and measurements and monitoring as well on a regular basis.
I'm glad you brought that up, Ulia, because we need to have meetings with ourselves. Frederick Engels, I think he pronounces it, said an ounce of action is worth a ton of theory. So just getting out there, as you say, is absolutely key. And I think one of the reasons people don't do it as often as they could is perhaps they still haven't got it clear as to how to introduce themselves. You meet somebody at an expo or a convention of some sort, and they would, my name is, I do, so it's like boring. That's not the way to do it. It's, what do you do that makes a difference? It's the same with books. Nobody reads a book because they want to know how to change their career per se. What they want is the result that the change of the career will give them: more money, more confidence, more time with the family, more freedom, whatever. It's always focusing on the results. And I think that stops a lot of people knowing how to introduce themselves effectively and dynamically.
Correct. I completely agree with that. That's why in the book, there is also a bit of guidance on how to do we call it the elevator pitch, right? And each elevator pitch might be different, because when I go somewhere where there is a different network setting, I adjust. But if I go to a corporate to introduce my workshops, it's a different story. But it's always a story which captures people. Rather than saying I'm a lawyer, you can say, for me as well, I help people to get unstuck from their hamster wheels. What is this? What? How do you, what do you do? And suddenly you've got the attention of the person and questions are coming up, right? I use this break free from your hamster wheel a lot, you know, I make sure that you get out. And even on LinkedIn, social media, the headline, don't put only a title there. Tell the people how you help. I've got my whole blurb of 220 characters filled in with everything. At the last, I'm coach, mentor, author, etc. Right? But the rest is really about how you want to be perceived. What's your message? And it needs to be out there. How do you help people? How they can get in contact with you? What's the value they get when you are going to work with that person? And I think that's really important. And I'm a LinkedIn hack. I love it. And by the way, for example, me, I didn't have any Instagram account at all whatsoever. I started to have an Instagram account in 2021, and now I've got 8,000 followers. So it's possible. It's possible. But determination, consistency, doing it only once will not help. You need to be on it consistently. 3 times a week, whatever is good for your rhythm. Consistency. So people know. For example, I always watch out for IAPC&M because I know on a weekly basis you're going to have a masterclass. So I always check on my YouTube channel. I follow, you know. So, because I don't want to miss any, because I think and that's another thing. Never underestimate people's different perspectives and masterclasses, even if the topic is the same. And you might think, you know, what am I going to get out of this? I know this already. There is always these 2 little things that you can add, which gives, oops, this light bulb. Oh, I didn't know about that. Although maybe 80% you know, but it's a good reminder. So not underestimating, always taking every opportunity to see it as a learning curve for you, and growth is so important.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear from your energy. I'm just checking my phone to see if Gillian has sent any questions in from anybody who's listening. But it's clear that, you know, you have not lost any of your energy or passion or enthusiasm for the industry. I think it just grows. I mean, you are in your element, aren't you?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And as you were saying before, in the beginning, I was not sure either. I was coming from a corporate world. You have a paycheck every month. You don't even have to worry. And suddenly you need to look for clients. Oh my God, how to sell yourself. It's a complete nightmare, you know, a complete nightmare. And I don't know how many times I changed my website and did this, etc. It's a continuous journey. So I call myself now a lifelong student. And with everything that I learned, with every experience, I changed. And now I feel so much better and aligned. And I'm following trends that, you know, my programs are really catered towards the audience I want to capture, but also touching base on these topics which are really preliminary at the moment. Like I've got another online workshop, which is for women in menopause at the workplace. No one talks about it. Now it's getting more and more attention, but it needs to, because leaders don't know how to deal with this. Men don't have no clue. They're like terrifying, you know, oh my God. And in addition to that, we are in our best ages, shall I say, because almost the kids are grown up and you've got more time to invest in your career. But how? You know, how shall I myself use my energy? Because sometimes we've got energy low, energy high, up, and you know, it's all over the place. So again, think about the industry, think about the target audience. What are they suffering? What are their struggles? And try to cater and fill that gap with your knowledge, wisdom, and also continuous upskilling yourself in terms of research, in terms of books, whatever it is. And I think that's the best I can say. And I love what I'm doing. I love humans. I love emerging professionals. For example, I love to work with students who lose their career orientation as well. They study and suddenly they're out of the university and say, what am I supposed to do now? Actually, I didn't want to be a lawyer. Look at that. You were studying for 4 years and then suddenly I've got many cases like that. I don't want to be a lawyer anymore. And you're like, okay, so interesting, good. So that's why I've got my YouTube channel as well with my 5 snippets there about how to make sure that you study something or not study. Do something completely else. It's fine. You don't need to study. Learn a profession where you feel fulfilled. well, not to 100%, let's say, but maybe to 70, 80%. That
Mm.
makes fun, a bit of passion and your strength you can use, but make sure and analyze yourself, assess yourself. What really do you want out of your life?
Yeah, I mean, as you say, we go to work for 30, 40 hours. And when you're a solopreneur, entrepreneur, it can be 50, 60, 70, 80 hours. For goodness sake, you've got to enjoy it. I think it was Nick Williams who said, do the work you were born to do, and you'll never work a day in your life. You know, you
Correct.
really do need to love it. Well, hopefully you've got the luxury of loving what you do. And that's one of the reasons why we become solopreneurs as well, so that we are our own bosses. We can work with the people that we want to work with, charge the fees and programs that we want to charge and write and so on.
Correct.
So I want
Absolutely.
to ask you another question, Ulia, because it's evident, you know, from anybody who's seen you on social media, what you're passionate about. You're passionate about people, you're passionate about learning, and supporting people. But outside of work, what fills your heart with joy?
Well, definitely being with people again, with
Yeah,
friends, going
yeah,
out for dinner, and I love nature. So I need to either hike, ski, be out, swim, taking a walk. I love that. It gives me serenity. It gives me alignment. Even if I've got 30 minutes in between meetings, I sometimes go out and take a round around the block because
yeah,
that fresh air helps me and I really need to move. I love
yeah.
sports. I do my sports in the morning. That's my first thing. So you need to have a
Okay.
routine as well for solopreneurs. Yes, we work a lot, Dawn.
Yeah,
We do.
yeah,
However, we need to have little, energy boosters. And the energy
yeah.
boosters can be basically simply only to cook something because I love cooking as well. Or
I know you
simply,
do. Yes.
yeah, I love it. And or or just do dancing. I put sometimes the
Yeah.
music on. I say, I've got 10 minutes, let's dance a bit, get the energy level up. Because
Movement
it's
is so
evident.
key, isn't it? Yeah,
Yes, absolutely. Because the more energy we produce or start to use, the more we get. Because we as well, myself included, have sometimes downs. And that's normal. We
yeah,
are humans, we're not robots.
yeah,
And
yeah.
to put it up again, either go on fresh air, see the sun, read a
Mm,
book, listen to music, dance, move, get a cup of tea, whatever it is, to again fill in your battery. Because,
mm,
like your iPhone, you also have a limited span
mm.
of brain power to
Yeah,
use. And we need
yeah.
to charge it from time to time.
Yeah. I think that's a really important lesson for coaches and indeed all practitioners of any speaking therapy based profession. Rather than seeing clients back to back, is perhaps give yourself half an hour between each one because self-reflection is really important. You've probably got
Yes,
some notes to write up, and then to go away and decompress and then re-energize so
correct.
that you're open and present for the next person. So I love that reminder about how important it is to move. I have a rebounder in my office, an indoor trampoline. And I keep thinking I will, in between calls, I will get up and I will bounce on it. Well, the dog lies on it. I've got books on it. It's become a sort of almost invisible coffee table. But you are so right, even just going out and having a march around the block for 5, 10 minutes is so important. Um, so we've got a question from Donna in the UK. Interestingly, uh, she trained with the same training provider as both of us. And she says, I haven't practiced coaching for a few years for all sorts of reasons, but she's coming back to it. Yay.
Yay.
Because we love good coaches who have come back. And she said she feels there's a barrier to accreditation because she doesn't have an up-to-date evidence portfolio. So, what are your thoughts on terms of how she can get her CPD log and her coaching log up to date? Any particular advice, Ulia, that you can think of?
First thing, action. Start watching them. Start accumulating the hours. Start
Mm,
watching, doing, and even start watching because we've got on the YouTube on IAPC, yeah, we've got
yeah,
all the backlogs there as well. Watch all the videos. Try to get it out on your CPD pad, and then you will see immediately you've got 30 hours easily. It's really easy. And any book that you read around personal coaching, personal development counts as well as a CPD. This is what I'm also recording all the time. So that's not a barrier at all. The barrier is here.
Yeah.
No barrier.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Because we're capabilities based, you know, it's not like anybody has to jump through a lot of theory academic type hoops. We're capabilities based, so it's very holistic, it's very inclusive, it's fast, it's accurate. So I would say download the CPD log, download the coaching log, and as Ulia said, it's very easy to even just think back into, you know, I read a Tony Robbins book 3 months ago. I watched a masterclass, watched Ulia's masterclass yesterday, or whatever. All of that counts, and we only ask for 30 hours a year, and you just keep that going year in, year out. So that's fine. With regard to the coaching log, again, you can download the coaching log, and we've got a very simple calculation at the top, because there are a lot of people who have returned to coaching or are indeed master coaches who somehow gradually have got so busy they've not kept their log up to date. So what we simply say is, on average, how many hours a week are you coaching and or mentoring? So if I just get my calculator out and say somebody says they do 5 hours a week, so I would times that 48 weeks of the year, because nobody works 52 weeks of the year, and then I would times it by the number of years. So say they've worked in the industry for 7 years, that gives you 1,680 hours. So then you can see very quickly, okay, I'm eligible for master coach, because we ask for 60 hours as a practitioner, 750 as a senior, and you're well on your way to being a master, which is 1,500 hours. And then the fellow of the institute, which I've no doubt in a couple of years' time you are going to be one as well, is 2,500 hours a year. So and then of course the next question is, well, how do I prove that? Well, we prove it by the fact that you have a live coaching assessment call. It's not a role play, and we will know whether you've pitched yourself at the right estimate, or whether you've overstretched. And I don't think we've ever really had anybody who's overstretched. What we tend to find is actually they scored top marks, and if they'd thought about it in a bit more detail, they could have gone for a higher status, but you know, they're a little bit worried. So we're an honesty-based organization, you know, so we don't need a document that says these are the hours, these are the signatures, these are the dates, etc. If you haven't kept it, that's the calculation we do. How many hours a week? 48 hours, 48 weeks of the year, times however many years you've been doing it. Simple. And because the capabilities based, you have a live coaching and or mentoring assessment call. Job done. So Gillian, we've got another question. Can an author apply for accreditation too? Well, yes, if they're a coach or a mentor or a training provider of coaches and mentors. But if they are simply a coach in their own right, and they're not a coach or a mentor, then obviously we wouldn't be the accreditation body for them, because that's our core business. But if they've written a book about their coaching or mentoring journey, whether it's leadership or business of some sort, or health or relationships, and that's their niche market, they don't have to be trained as a coach. They've gained their experience as a practitioner on the job, then yes, they can apply for it. And that's why we have the portfolio route. So they wouldn't come through the accredited training provider route the way Ulia and I did. They would come through the portfolio route, which is a kind of like a catch-all. So it's for people who have trained in the forces, corporate in-house programs, and never really been on a coaching course as maybe a year-long opportunity. But they've got great coaching skills. So that's kind of like a catch-all. And maybe then they've written a book. And so the answer is yes, they can become accredited in their own right. And then, of course, like the lovely Ulia, you will have your book reviewed for our book review club, and you will join our inspirational authors interview series. So I'm conscious of the time. I know you're a very busy lady. So thank you very much for joining me in the hot seat today. It's always a pleasure spending time with you.
Thank
I feel
you.
like you've
Same.
calmed down a little bit. You were very, very hyper, and now I think you're just really in the zone. I think you really know yourself and who you are and where you're pitching it now.
Yes, absolutely. But that takes time, you see, because you
It
don't
does.
know. You don't know. I mean, you test out and then you find your real nice alignment with yourself and your message because you're so sure of it and you really believe strongly. It comes from the heart. It's obvious that you don't need to fake it anymore, that you don't need to be hyper. Maybe you think you need to be hyper because to convince people,
Yeah,
now it's like, I know my value.
you're
I
in a
know what
good
I'm worth.
place.
Yeah, that's it. Easy.
Yeah, I can tell. Well,
Oh,
it's
thank you.
lovely to spend time with you. For those who are listening and think, God, I really like Ulia's energy. I would like to know more about her client-facing signature program, or I'd like her to be my coach or mentor. What, if anything, have you got coming up other than your second book that you're writing with the lovely Eileen? But what would you say to anybody? How would they contact you? What have you got coming up?
Well, they can contact me. I'm on all social media handles. LinkedIn,
Mhm.
my favorite, Instagram, Facebook, as well as TikTok. I've got my own YouTube channel. So if you just stalk me around, you will find how to contact me. And new workshops are coming up specifically for entrepreneurs, where I'm co-facilitating with another person about entrepreneurs' social mastery. We're talking about social media, blogging, website, and many, many, many topics, 6 weeks. It's once a week. Then I've got another one which is coming up, how to stay relevant in
Yeah, I
the
love the
workplace
sound of
for
that.
professionals. Thank you. And you know what? I've got another thing which is starting on a weekly basis in the morning. I've got a blind date booster session for 15 minutes, 5 minutes. Once a week. It will start, I think, end of April, 8, 8:15. You just hop on it. You don't know what's going to come up, and I will give you the motivation, energy, maybe with music, maybe with a poem, maybe with a presentation, or just talking, or just having silence. So that's another thing which is free. So hop on it, follow me, and you will see.
Yeah. Well, you see, I said at the very beginning that you're the queen of networking, and you're the person that I think has embraced waiting actively in the most positive way I've ever come across. And you've just proved that. You've got this coming up, you've got that coming up, and you've got that. And oh, don't forget that. And your second book's coming out. You've got your finger in so many different pies. Just make
Thank
sure
you.
you keep putting them on the IAPC&M members page, won't you? So that they get first dibs at your
Yeah,
staying
correct.
relevant, particularly.
Correct. I shall do so. That one I forget all the time. So that's the
Yeah.
next action. I take note of it because your brain, you should use it not to store information, but to use it to create something because
Yeah.
our brain gets tired. So write it down, put it somewhere, post it or whatever, what you want to do next, because
Yeah.
otherwise you will be always having overthinking and you can't even get to sleep. So another little tip on
I
the
think
road.
it was Einstein who said, "Why fill your head with this stuff when you can read it or find it when you want to? You don't need to learn it. You just need to know where to access the information when you
Exactly.
need it." So it's kind of similar
Exactly.
point.
And this evening, I've got another workshop I'm going to embark now in person, which is about how to harness your brain power. And that's what I suggested as a masterclass as well for my next one.
Oh, well. Look, if you're not following Unia, you need to. And
Thank you,
please, if
Dawn.
you're a bookworm, please do shout out. We desperately
Right.
need more bookworms to read even more books for our book review club. So thank you, Ulia. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'll see you at the co-working tomorrow if I see you. And enjoy your masterclass tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a good afternoon. Bye to
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye-bye,
Bye.
everybody. Bye.